Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 85 of today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Ash Paulson, and I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful friend and GVG co-founder, Derek Bittner, and epic friend of GVG, Brandon, voice of God Miracle, standing in for Steve once again. Steve is still traveling with his family. He'll be back Wednesday, we think. But, of course, we always love having Brandon here. It's always great to have the voice of God, but we also... awesome.
If Steve stayed off away long enough, it's like, you know what? Let's just bring Brandon in.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Steve.
I'm Steve.
I don't know. Steve might have a hard, he might have a hard time getting back in your seat, Brandon. I don't know. And of course, we do also have our very, very special guest, Twitch streamer and occasional Super Gaming Brothers contributor, Uncle Silver. Man, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the invite. I very much appreciate it. It's going good so far. How are you guys doing today?
It's a Monday.
Good. Not too shabby.
You know,
It's a Monday. Hey, you gotta have Mondays. Otherwise, we'd all just hate Tuesdays.
That is a good point.
Good point. That's a really good way. We're all about positivity here on Good Vibes Gaming, and I love the way you frame that, man. That's a very good point. So, fair enough. Mondays do serve a purpose.
There you go.
Of course, we do have a lot of news to get through today, but before we get there, we have a sponsor for today's episode, and that is, of course, The Game Orb. The Game Orb is a fledgling channel that is focused mostly on Nintendo content until now. While they are still running Let's Plays of games like Splatoon 2, Pac-Man 99, and Smash Bros. Ultimate, and more from the Nintendo wheelhouse, going forward, they're also going to be covering games on the Xbox Series X as part of their new daily upload schedule, beginning today, May 10th. So if you want to get in on that action, subscribe to the Game Orb today at the link in the video description below. We're also going to post the link in the YouTube chat as well, so we can show the Game Orb the awesome power of the GV gang. So please... if you're not subscribed to the Game Orb, go show them some love. Let's see if we can get them over 300 subscribers. I think we're getting closer and closer to 250. So
yeah, we're at 228 for them. So it is steadily going up.
All right.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So yes, please go subscribe. And also, they would like to promote their friend's YouTube channel, Galactic Reaper. And we're going to post, of course, you'll find both links in the description below, as well as in our YouTube chat. So please go subscribe to Galactic Reaper as well. And thank you, as always, The Game Orb, for your incredible support of the channel, for being a sponsor of today's news tonight. We love you. We adore you. Thank you so much for all your support. With that said...
before we get started, though, as we're talking about how all of us are doing, Brandon, I got to ask you a question.
What's
up?
up?
How does it feel to have your Mario impression from the Out of Context liked by Martinet himself?
That's awesome.
I woke up at like 1 p.m. today, and I checked my phone, and I'm like, what's with all these notifications? And then I checked it, and Charles Martinet liked my impression on Twitter, and I was like, oh my God. That's the highest honor you could ask for.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Good for you.
Thank you. I am gonna put my name in the Mario successor hat and find out if that works out.
Nice.
All right, so I'm 2 degrees from Charles Martinet. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My God.
Man, I hadn't heard about that until now. That's awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a morning for me.
I'm sure it has. No, I've barely even been on Twitter today except to post about my and my dad's new Game That Tune coming up this Sunday. So I've just barely even looked at Twitter. Again, Mondays. And yeah, so this is my first time hearing about that. But dude, congratulations. That is awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Charles is not going to voice Mario in the movie because I am.
There we go.
Already moving in. And
I like it.
So not only are you ousting Steve of the TNT host chair, but you're ousting Charles Martinet as Mario, man. You're just...
he's taking over everything. Like you edit for Roger, you're taking over Roger's channel. You're talking about all that. You're the One Piece guy now.
I'm becoming too powerful.
So now here's my question: does Charles know that you're replacing him, or does he not know that yet?
You know, it's we're gonna have to have a closed door conversation.
Okay. Cool.
The thing is, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility because you remember that Back to the Future game by Telltale? Have you any of you ever played?
I know of it.
A little bit.
I know of
I haven't played it.
The guy that got to voice Marty wasn't. I don't think he was actually a professional actor at all. He's just really well known for his Marty impression. Got the gig.
Oh.
Did an amazing job.
Eh,
Guess I'm on the right
That's
track.
awesome.
it's a
It's a
VA Cinderella
possibility.
story.
Yeah, there you go.
Just to address something in the chat here by Sketcha MPM, mentioning that Arlo is one of the remaining game personalities that hasn't shown up on TNT yet. We know, and we have been in contact with him. He is certainly a friend of the channel, certainly a friend of all of ours. His name constantly comes up. I know we know a lot of you want to see him on the show. We want to see him on the show, and he wants to be on it. He's just been very, very busy. So our schedules haven't aligned yet, but we're working on it, and we know. So don't worry, Arlo will eventually be here. We promise. So that will happen at some point.
One more thing we should address. Promote a Pet. Still on the way, I promise.
Yes. Yeah,
Just
Promote
not
a Pet
today.
is still on the way. In fact, I just sent out a message on Patreon to all of our patrons at the Promote a Pet tier asking for names and pictures so we can get that going possibly as soon as the next episode on Wednesday. But we are actively undertaking that. So if you are a Promote a Pet patron, first of all, thank you. And second of all, check your Patreon messages for the one I just talked about, and we can get you set up. Also, as usual, with the switch to a live public format, if we do get super chats during the show, we will read them out, or I will read them out between news stories. So if you do a super chat donation, thank you so much for your generosity. It is not being ignored. We're just doing it between news stories. So with that said, there are some news stories to get through. And Brandon, you had some epic news today about that Charles Martinet thing. And that's perfect for our first news story, which is also kind of epic. So let's get that up on screen. So the raging court battle litigation between Epic and Apple continues, and a new case document has revealed that Epic is trying to get Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox first-party games on the Epic Store. And now this document even says right away that Nintendo, with their company history and culture, is a non-starter, so that's probably not happening.
Yeah.
But we did find out that Epic did offer Sony $200 million for 4 to 6 first-party games. And also, apparently, as an aside, Phil Spencer meets with Gabe Newell every so often, which is kind of its own little weird aside. But yeah, Epic is going all in on trying to get first-party console games on the Epic Games Store. Uncle Silver, you are our special guest for the day, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this to you. Do you have any particular thoughts about this or about the ongoing case in general?
When I first saw that it was all 3 companies, my first thought for Nintendo was the J. Jonah Jameson, where he laughs.
It's so good. I love that laugh.
The fact that they even think that that's possible is just hilarious to me. It's hysterical that they think that's possible.
Yeah.
Sony, here's what I'd be interested in. I'm interested to know what games. I'm interested to know if they're talking about more modern games, or are they talking about Horizon Zero Dawn? Are they talking about stuff that is not necessarily profitable to Sony anymore? So maybe, they bolster their lineup a little bit by saying, oh, look, we've got God of War and we've got Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm curious to know what games it is. Beyond that, I really just don't see it happening. I really don't.
Certainly not with Nintendo. There's no way.
No, that's not going to happen. They're getting laughed out of the room for that one. I imagine even the people at Sony were like, "Are you talking to Nintendo about this? Are you sure?" Yeah, because it's not going to happen. Microsoft is the one that I feel like is the best bet, and at the same time, Microsoft has a very successful online storefront of their own. So I really don't see them even bothering. Like, there's no point.
Yeah.
It's just very... Right. And another thing that's interesting is that these all seem to be one-player games. That's what is very interesting, is that it's all single-player titles, which tells me that Epic does not have anything single-player that is a seller. And they know.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. Man,
you Narukami in our live audience patron chat makes a great point about Sony, or at least about Horizon Zero Dawn, saying, well, it's on Steam, so that wouldn't matter much if it did come to the Epic Game Store.
Yeah,
so Horizon's probably out. Like you said, Uncle Silver, Nintendo's that's never going to happen.
No.
It's just not.
Well,
PlayStation probably not either. I think there's certainly at least a sliver of a chance there. What compared to Nintendo where there isn't. But I agree that Microsoft is the likeliest outlet for them if they're going to get any of the main console platform holders' first-party games on the Epic Game Store.
so Sketcha MPM in the chat says, "Fun fact: Horizon Zero Dawn was produced by one of the founding members of Epic." Which, oof, that's gonna
Wow.
sting.
Yeah, that's awkward. Awkward.
I know a guy. We'll get it.
Yeah. I want to go back to something. I think it was you said, Uncle Silver, which is the thing that stands out to me most about the ongoing litigation and about this story is just Epic and Tim Sweeney's planet-sized ego. And planet might not even be an apt term for it. It might be galaxy-sized might be better. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
You've got a lot. You think you're holding a lot of cards to approach these companies and say, "Oh, why don't we give you some money?" Because they're all hurting, right? All of these companies, they're hurting for money. So God knows $200 million is going to save Sony, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're hanging on by a thread here. They only sold 7.8 million PS5s. I mean, come on, man. They got kids to feed. It is just kind of crazy that they make that sort of move. And it's funny because you guys were talking, I want to say it was last week, you were talking about how one of these courtroom things came up about how they were, what was it? It was like Microsoft was talking about Last of Us 2.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they
were
remember that?
like an
They were
internal review.
like
Right.
Oh,
discussing.
yeah.
I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. If they're reviewing games to be talking to other companies to say, oh, Last of Us 2 has this and that we're looking for. That should be part of the deal. I wonder if that's where that came from, is part of this deal.
maybe.
Yeah.
And
possible.
we should note that also, thanks to the patron chat, that Horizon Zero Dawn is on Epic Game Store as well.
Yeah.
Oh, is it already?
Oh,
okay.
it is already. Okay. But yeah,
Good to
okay.
know.
So this is more likely modern, more like newer games. So probably Last of Us 2.
Oh, they're definitely trying to get those exclusives. I think this is what
Yeah.
more this is about.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's thrown me that you're calling Horizon Zero Dawn anything other than modern since it came out in 2017, and to my mind, it's still
it's
one
a
of the most gorgeous
fast-moving
games.
business, baby.
It really is. It's wild.
It really
to think that
is.
Horizon's already- And if you go back and look at it now, it still doesn't look like it's aged a day, at least to me. It's such a beautiful game 4 years later.
It's incredible.
Yeah. 4 years later. I keep saying 3. God, it's been 4 years. I hate the march of time.
Well, wait, was it 2016?
No, it came out in 2017.
2017.
Yeah, right. Either a month before or after Breath of the Wild.
I think after.
Or after, yeah, but very close to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, good, Derek.
Just talking about Sweeney. I mean, it seems like their whole thing is like, okay, we're making all the money, just throw all the money at this. I mean, we talked before how about Game Store wouldn't be profitable for another 4 years or so. So
yeah,
I don't know. This is
about
such
Epic,
a weird thing.
Epic specifically not being profitable.
Well, Epic Game Store would not be profitable for Epic for about 4 years.
It's tricky because I guess the storefront won't be profitable because Fortnite has made how much money? They've got money to be throwing at it, and if they route their Fortnite sales through the store, technically the store is making a profit. It's sort of
right.
However they're managing it, manipulating it, $1 billion companies.
Yeah. Nico Bra in our live audience chat says Sony announces Gravity Rush 3, but it's an Epic Game Store exclusive. Reaction? It would be mixed. On one hand, I'd be pissed because I have a PS5 and I want to play it there. On the other hand, that means Cat and Gravity Rush are alive and are still living. So it's not a complete loss because I love that series and that character. And that would at least show some sort of indication that they're not giving up on some of their wackier, more esoteric Japanese franchises because they've doubled down so much recently on their Western AAA releases.
No more AA.
I just started playing Gravity Rush this past Saturday, and boy, that's a lot of fun. I did not realize how much you just shove people out into the abyss, though. Whenever you're using their gravity powers, like,
Yeah.
wow. Also, Cat always looked like sweet and demure, and I'm looking at like her personality in this is just like kind of spunky, a lot more spunky than I thought she was going to be.
Uh-huh.
So I greatly enjoying that game.
Well, going back to this leaked court document for a second. So I don't know exactly when this is from, the doc itself, but it does say they're still awaiting feedback from Sony. I think they're going to keep waiting. I don't think they're going to get the feedback they want.
Yeah.
Microsoft, they apparently have been privy to internal feedback from Microsoft that their PC Game Pass leader is against what we're doing. We're meaning Epic. They are effectively bidding against us for content, and that's where the little bit came up about Phil meeting with Gabe Newell occasionally, which is just kind of its own little point. But I think we pretty much beaten this one to death. Nintendo's not going to happen. PlayStation probably not. Microsoft, who knows? But
do you think it would be in Epic's best interest to, instead of buying first-party titles from other people, buying franchises that have been, dead for a little while and turning them into Epic exclusives? That seems like a better use of their money than instead of buying games that already belong to other people. Why not buy, you mentioned Gravity Rush. If Sony really doesn't want to do a Gravity Rush, or whoever, I don't know who makes Gravity Rush, if they don't want to do another Gravity Rush game, it would probably be in Epic's best interest to buy it and then make a new game with that. That seems better.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can. I mean, I don't know if you can divorce Gravity Rush from their original. I mean, you can, of course. Anybody can make it, but I don't know if that's going to pull in Gravity Rush fans, right? If it's
it depends.
Epic's name is kind of already tainted anyway for various reasons for a lot of people, so I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I just mean in general, instead of buying a whole, instead of, hey, we want Last of Us 2, why not just buy other franchises and say, all right, we can't have Last of Us 2. That's a Sony thing. But if you want this new IP, F-Zero, you come over here.
I'd imagine there's more financial risk in doing something like that, because then you have developmental costs to make it happen. But honestly, it doesn't sound like a bad thing if they ever were to do something like that.
As Get Lucky in the chat mentions, the THQ Nordic approach, which, hey, that's how you get more Darksiders.
Yeah.
So,
but Bug Fables too.
They perfect.
Can you imagine if we did get a new F-Zero, but it was Epic Games exclusive?
It would never happen.
No,
it would never happen.
Can you imagine? The internet would implode if that ever actually happened. It never will, of course.
They've already got Sans.
I am loath personally to cover this next news story because I'm not the biggest fan of this character. But news is news. I don't get to decide what's newsworthy and what's not. I know, right? Hey, man, I put this in the news to begin with, so I'm braving this. But let's go ahead and get this news story up on screen. And this actually comes courtesy of our dear friend John Cartwright, dear friend of the channel, of all of us. But he posted about a new official render of Waluigi's tongue, and it's cursed. And I don't know why John felt the need to alert the world to this thing's existence, but yeah,
it's an official video. It was, for some reason, shown during the Switch Lite Blue unboxing in color comparison.
That's so weird. He looks like such a creep here, though.
It's the pose. I think more than the tongue, more than the rose. It's the pose. What's he doing?
I don't know. Like, he has his legs scrunched together as much as he can and jutting his butt out.
Yeah, I can't see the junk in the trunk from up there. You got to turn it around, Waluigi. Come on, man.
If I could say anything about this is unabashedly Waluigi.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same guy that did the suck it pose. Like, this is on the same tier as a suck it pose from some strikers.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think it's still a bit underneath that. I think the crotch chop still takes top honors, doesn't it?
Maybe. Like, it's pretty close. Like, him actively trying to lick the rose. And
yeah.
For some reason, seeing his nose from the side is so, like, the more I look at it, the more it's like, what the hell?
I'm less confused about Waluigi because this is like a Waluigi kind of thing. I'm more concerned about Nintendo right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about what's going on over there. There's only so much thirsty you can be. That
Right.
You're
They're
making
Like
these
Nintendo,
pictures.
are you okay? Yeah.
They're competing with Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah. Oh my
right.
god.
They're bringing out their big guns.
Imagine if this was like, well, I mean, well, imagine if he got into Smash after all, and this was his Smash render. Like, I can't. This was what was on the character select screen on the versus matchup screen. That's what you see.
I saw
the
something else
time.
today. I'm going to pop it in the green room and all the different chats so everybody else can see it as well. It's just a link to a tweet. Somebody named Carrie Drawl is just saying the era of sexy Waluigi has officially begun, and we couldn't be happier.
Ugh.
And they have his outfit from Mario Golf, which I'm sorry, that is a suave looking outfit for golf.
That's pretty fly. Yeah.
That
That's pretty sharp.
I respectfully request to be left out of Wii. We are not happy about this. I am not happy about the advent of sexy Waluigi. So I don't know if Wii is an accurate thing to say here, but
I mean, and here's the thing: you're saying the advent of sexy Waluigi. You're assuming it never stopped in the first place. It
mean,
was
that's true.
always
That's true.
always there. I mean, come on.
if you
Fair
say
enough.
so. Look, I have said it, and I've taken a lot of heat over this for the years. I don't understand the love for Wario and Waluigi. I don't share it. I've never understood the love for
Ash,
these
you
characters.
cannot deny this lean, mean purple machine that is Waluigi.
I think I can.
Who looks wildly like Robbie Rotten? Am I the only
He
one?
does.
No, now that you mention it,
With that outfit.
yeah, I get
Oh
it.
man, I think it's just it's the silliness of it. It's
No, it's totally,
yeah.
yeah.
It's for
Oh,
the
yeah.
memes. I love it. I love it.
It is
No, I do.
adding a
Like,
lot of personality to Waluigi. I think they're sort of figuring that out, which, hey, I'd love to get a co-op Wario Land game with Waluigi as player 2 or something like that. I don't know. It'd be fun.
You know, he kind of reminds me of James from Pokemon. Like early
no, I
James.
can
Little
see
bit.
that.
he has
Especially
that
with
rose.
Rose.
For some reason, he got that rose motif, which, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
All right. All right, so chat. Here's your job, right? Fan art: Waluigi as Jesse, Wario as James, Wario as Jesse.
Oh, we're not ready for this.
God.
There you go.
My.
There you go.
Well, maybe, and I've mentioned this before, but I feel like, if Alpha Dream could ever make a comeback, the title writes itself, man. Wario and Waluigi, partners in crime. Make
Yeah,
it
we've
happen.
talked about
Yeah.
that a few times, Ash. We
Yeah.
we want that.
Yeah, so, if we could get our... See, no, we're talking about giving Wario and Waluigi their own game. We hear the LA sirens on my end. They're coming.
Look, see,
Even they know it's not a good idea.
Oh god, the horny police are here.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
you posted sexy Waluigi. That is against the law to be that sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
He's
I will
never-
say that... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's never been in a game outside of the sports stuff, has he?
And Mario
Has he
Party.
been
yeah.
in?
The-
Other than
He's
Mario
not-
Parties.
Just Mario Party? Okay, so he's
In-
never been in
in
like a
Dance-
story mode.
He was the villain of Dance Dance Revolution on GameCube for the
That's
Mario
true.
mix.
Oh,
That's the only
right.
time he was the villain.
Forgot that.
Like the final boss villain type thing.
And
I
we
think
did recently do our first weekly discussion here on the channel. We're talking about the state of Smash Brothers Ultimate and who the last two characters might be in Fighters Pass Volume 2. And Waluigi's name, loath as I am to admit it, did come up a few times. So
I like it. I was talking
Good.
before. We talked before about this, and I always said that the best. Here's your character intro. You have Mario fighting Wario, and Luigi. Like he something happens. Luigi pops in, and they start fighting Wario, and Wario grabs the assist trophy, and it's the Waluigi assist trophy. So he does his thing, like he stomps him down, and then he goes to leave. So then Wario, like, he's sort of gesturing him like, no, stay. And Waluigi's like, I can't. And then Wario pulls out an invitation and gives it to him. And he invites him to come from assist trophy to full-fledged character.
That would
Oh,
be
man.
It'd be so
Pretty
good
hype.
if the invitation was just like a hack job, like written in crayon or something.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Just to have him
You
in
certainly
the game.
thought this out. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I kind of want to see it just for the chaos.
Oh, that's sort of what I mean. When they were talking before about what character it should be, and a lot of people were joking about Fortnite default character. I wanted that just because I knew the chaos afterwards would have just been amazing.
Right.
It's been a while
Yeah.
since we've had kind of for a lack of a better term, I guess like a gag character. To me, Waluigi wouldn't be a gag character, but I assume a lot of people would see him that way. But it'd be a nice way to kind of round out this Fighter's Pass, which has mostly been like high-end anime style characters. Other than Steve.
Wait,
I guess.
so are you intrinsically calling Waluigi low end then? Because if you are, I agree with you.
I said high-end anime character. Waluigi is high-end any character.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. No, I like to talk a lot of shit, of course, and I'm not the biggest fan of the characters, but I have to say this render is hilarious, and it does add to the overall just WTFness of what Waluigi even represents. So
Pretty
I can't
much.
hate it. I like to put on a big face, but I don't actually hate this. I think it's actually kind of hilarious.
Like how do you nail that character? Like what is that character? You go through all of the different pictures and stuff. That's what you're left wondering is who the heck is this guy?
Right. I don't know who it was that it long passed in the YouTube chat, but someone said, "Can we do our Waluigi impressions?" And I will admit, I'm much more comfortable doing like Mario and Luigi, but Waluigi, Waluigi is gonna win. I don't know. I'm not a very good Waluigi guy, but I consider that a good thing. So.
Everybody's a cheater but me.
Oh, there you go. That was really good. Everybody's I can't do Waluigi. I'm more Mario, Luigi, and Toad. Toad voices.
Use your nose. Someone say use your nose.
Oh yeah, Waluigi. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, if you do the nose. Yeah, there you go.
That Joker stole my invitation.
Oh, God. Well, I think we've talked about Waluigi more in one episode of TNT than I ever thought we would. So let's go ahead and move on to the next news story. And the person in this story is someone that Waluigi, I believe, would be very proud of. And after more than 20 years, over 2 decades, a hardcore Nintendo fan has completed their Famicom game collection, owning all 1,053 games for the system. And here's the thing, not just the cartridges. Every single one of them has their box and manual intact. This is a collector of a whole nother level, you guys. This is incredible. And this came from Kotaku, who did a feature on this collector. And my God, so his name is Somari, which is odd because he unintentionally or not shares a name with that really infamous ROM hack.
Yeah.
Of Sonic and Mario.
Somari?
Somari. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one that thought of that when I first read Somari.
It says the total time to finish this collection was 20 years and 3 months, with Somari acquiring the last title, Snow Brothers, from 1990 on March 11th. The game cost her a cool 72,500 yen, which is $665-ish. And the most expensive game in her collection is Battle Rush, which is about 250,000 yen. So, wow. This is some impressive. I mean, not only is it impressive that she owns over 1,000 cartridges, but the fact that every single one has the box and manual intact, that's insane. Actually blows my mind.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
The thing is, it's kind of weird to see those prices for these Famicom games. I'm so used to hearing about Japan and be like, yeah, go to that store and you'll be able to find Famicom games for like $10.
Yeah, Super Potato.
Super Potato.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had to pay that much money for some of these games, that's insane.
Well, it might be the box and manual aspect, because I have bought plenty of games from Super Potato over the years, like when I go to Japan, and they are actually cheap, but it's just the cartridges wrapped in like cellophane plastic.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not like I'm buying the boxes and manuals as well. So I'm sure that's what accounts for the price difference.
Yeah, it's wild. It's just a lot of dedication. It's a lot of dedication for. I mean, I love collecting, and I don't know that I have the dedication to do it box and instructions. And just to finish it, to even get this far is incredible, and then to finish it is just a whole nother thing entirely. I almost want to meet the person and go see it. Like I almost want to see it in person.
Yeah, I wish there's almost like a museum because I'd love to just go through and look at all the
I-
cases.
I kind of hope that that's where this ends up at some point. Because
Mm-hmm.
who in their right mind will ever manage to accomplish this in addition to Samari? So, if
Right.
Samari at some point decides to retire her collection, I'd love to see this show up in a museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Who
Yeah,
Said,
wasn't-
when I was in junior high, I experienced a lot of awful things that I don't want to remember. At the time, I was helped so much by the Famicom. So this is like sort of like a childhood thing. This is
Yeah.
this
So
whole-
passion project.
crazy.
I
For
feel
sure.
like it's
Yeah,
a
kind
passion
of-
project.
There's like an emotional attachment here that the Famicom obviously meant very much to them, and was, I guess, served as an escape from all the shit they were going through in junior high. I assume that means
Yeah.
things like bullying and such. And I love this. I mean, as long as they're healthy and they're taking care of themselves and able to pay their bills and such. Hey, collect whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
If this makes you
100%.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and I feel this. I feel a lot of like when I was reading that because I think about when I was a kid and I was the nerdy kid that got picked on and bullied and stuff
Same.
and I had my Nintendo powers and I didn't really talk to the other kids and it's funny because they started talking to me when they realized I play video games. So then and I was like very into video games. So my first real interactions with the other kids without them picking on me a lot of the time was, did you play this game and how do you do this? And so I feel that sort of emotional attachment to the early game. And I think a lot of us do. I think that's why
Mm.
NES and Super Nintendo and Genesis, I think that's why a lot of people have such a strong connection with them is because that was at a time when being a geek got you beaten up. It got you treated
yeah.
badly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Never-
I think we all probably come from that
Yeah.
era of growing up. I mean, I certainly did. I was picked on and I was very unpopular because I was such a big video game nerd.
See,
And,
I never talked
yeah.
about video games in school that much, unless I made
Oh,
friends
yeah.
with somebody. Then I found it. Then I was at school. I was mainly reading for that sort of thing. But I also was very limited how much I could actually play my
Mhm.
video games. My parents only let me play on Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Oh, jeez.
Gotcha. That's
Ouch.
rough, man.
My parents pushed me in front of a video game console as fast as they could.
Just shut up, get him out of here.
I was
Yes.
playing Atari 2600 at my little dining room table with my 13-inch black and white TV.
I love
Oh,
it.
heck yeah.
Yeah, basically, once I got my NES at around I think I was 4 years old when I got my NES, and I remember to hear my parents tell it. My dad was the one who was a little hesitant. He was like, should we do this? Are we opening a Pandora's box? Like, is this a good idea? And my mom had seen how much I had taken to it and how much it just made me light up. And she's like, hey, if this is what he's going to be good at, and this is what he really, as long as, anything in moderation and he's healthy about it, I encourage it. And so, I certainly credit my mom with, kind of enabling that to happen. And it is the day after Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. Thank you for
There you go.
fostering my my love of
Perfect.
video games. Yeah. Our 112 in the live audience chat here talks about the incredible difference collecting NES cartridges would be compared to what Samari has accomplished, just because they say Mega Man 5 alone in the used game market is $142 loose. That's without
Yeah.
the manual
Mm.
and the box. So yeah, it is incredible to me how wildly different the used game markets are between Japan and the US. It's
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to Japan and I went to Super Potato, my first trip there, I was able to get Chrono Trigger, and that was actually in box. I was able to get Chrono Trigger Super Famicom in box sealed for, that was like, I think $17, the equivalent of
Jeez.
50,
Jeez.
Wow.
and I was like so not used to that. I'm like, am I just buying the box? Like, is there no game in this? I'm so confused.
Shaking
No, it's
around
the
a little
game.
bit. It's like,
Yeah. And it's just, I was so used to, as an American, just used game prices
Yeah.
being exorbitant.
I wonder
So-
what games are expensive over there. I mean, obviously Snow Brothers and what was it? Gundam? Gundam
hold
Z.
on.
Like obviously those are, but
Battle Rush, which I'm not even sure what Battle Rush is.
at least kind of just from my own, just looking around used game stores in Japan, it definitely seems as though the rarer, like Sega Saturn games, PS1 games, like from that era, it seems like the really rare games from that era tend to be very expensive. Like I didn't find a
Okay.
Saturn game that was cheap, even in
Really?
Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, I think even the Saturn version of Mega Man X4 was fairly pricey from what I remember. Like maybe,
Ooh.
I mean, I'm just going from memory here, but maybe 70 to 80 bucks. So obviously not as bad as it would be here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think
But for
I think it's up
Japan,
to 300 here.
there you go.
Yeah.
So of course that was years ago. I don't know what it is now. Going back to this article really quick, according to Live Door News, the hardest Famicom game to find for Somari was the math educational title Sansu 56 Nen Keisan game. Apparently, it's not hard to find in cartridge only form, but if you want the full packaging, it's very difficult. They go on to say that Somari now wants to start or hopes to start collecting Famicom Disk System games. And they also add that there are still rare versions of games she already has to collect, such as the Namco hardcase versions, as well as the non-retail Famicom games. So they're not done. They've reached a milestone, but they are dedicated to completely filling this out. So hats off to her, and I wish her all the luck. I think this is an incredible undertaking that she's been able to accomplish.
I wonder if does the Famicom have an equivalent of a NES tournament cartridge? Of a world, they didn't have any sort of world championship cartridge over there, did they?
I don't know, actually.
That's a good question. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm thinking about the ones that we have over here that, if you're an NES collector, you got to have, Little Samson and all of these games. And then there's the two world, what is it? NWC cartridges.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know. And then the Super Nintendo's got a whole bunch of like tournament there was like a tournament one. There was what was it? Campus Challenge. I think was the Super Nintendo one.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's incredible how many, I mean, obviously it's easy to think in a general sense. There are so many games out there and so many rare, obscure games, but when you really break it down and you really are trying to get every single one, it's pretty amazing just what an undertaking that actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you consider small Japanese living spaces.
Yeah, that too, right? That's so true. Well, obviously I miss Steve anyway because he's my good friend and I love him. But I do wish we had him here to talk about this next news story, which I feel like a lot of Yakuza fans have already rendered their judgment on. But let's go ahead and get that up on screen. And that is that Lost Judgment, the recently announced sequel to Judgment, is getting a season pass and quote unquote fully packed additional story DLC, according to the Japanese PlayStation Store. And a game getting DLC or a season pass wouldn't normally be news, but it is in this case because this is, to my mind, the first time Yakuza and or Judgment have done a season pass or really gone in heavily on DLC. And I'm sure there are Yakuza fans in the chat who can tell me if I'm wrong about that. But this has been making the rounds because this is not a Ryuga Kotoku studio. You don't really associate them with a lot of heavy-handed DLC practices, and I'd be really curious to get Steve's thoughts on this.
If I had to guess, just based off this, I think the story itself will be complete. This feels more like a bit of a side story, like an extra case to do, to just sort of expand upon it. Kind of like the DLC that was in what was it called? LA Noire, where it's just like, hey, here's an extra case that you can solve, and it doesn't have anything to do with the story, but you get to do more of this type of case. There you go.
Yeah, side missions, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, given the development pedigree here and what we have come to expect from RGG Studio, I assume that we're going to get a complete story on the disc in the retail release, and that any DLC, season pass, whatever they're doing on top of that is going to be extra content that maybe fills out some sub stories or fills out the world, but that you're not going to have to purchase DLC to get the ending or anything like that.
I imagine these will not be integral to the overall narrative of the series.
Right.
But fun extras.
Yeah, and I mean, given how fascinating the side quests have been in Yakuza Like a Dragon as I'm playing through it, I would imagine that even if they are just side stories, they might end up being worth, whatever. Well, depending on what the cost of the season pass ends up being, they might be worth it just because even the side stories in at least Like a Dragon tend to be very interesting.
Yeah, full blown side arcs. You Yeah, every month. And if you're buying a season pass, it means you're going to get all of it. So it would be, you could have every month you're getting a new giant chunk of the story. So this could all just be one more story, but spread out over the course of a year. And then if you liked it, next year we have another season pass. We have another full arc of a story that you get every month. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, as long as they don't go the route of making the DLC feel required to the main story,
Yeah.
I think probably the past precedent is on RGG Studios' side here. People are going to expect that they're delivering a complete game, and the DLC will just be additional cool stuff on top of that.
Yeah, I've especially with the structure of these type of games, it feels really easy to just have a complete new side story and build off of that.
Right.
These games also come out so frequently, I feel like, that I don't see a need to do core story beats and DLC because they're always releasing new entries, it feels like. At least to me as an outsider, so...
It does feel like it happens a lot. Like, it feels like in
Yeah.
2022 or even 2020, maybe 2023, we'll get like a Dragon 2 or a Yakuza at 9, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if anybody's here from my typical chat, they'll tell you my thoughts on it are usually I'd rather pay $20-$30 for a whole new DLC story than $60 for Yakuza R, and where I get the same exact game and then that one extra story that they could have sold me for $20, but now I had to buy the whole game again. Persona 5 R, as much as people love Persona 5 R, that what I understand is that the content in that game could have been sold as DLC for $30.
If you only want the new story,
if you only
there's a
want the new
lot
story.
if I will say the structure of the game has been helped a lot. There's a lot of quality of life improvements.
Okay, all right.
Even
So that's
before
good
you
then.
get to that point, so I don't quite count that one.
Yeah.
Right. Flox Cat in our YouTube chat says it's the DLC police. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the sirens coming toward here. What you're talking about.
Just breaking all the walls tonight, Ash.
Yeah.
No, they won't come to your house. You don't have the season pass.
True.
You gotta have the fire pass in order for them to show up and help you.
Right.
Buy
Well,
that Dontnod
I think on
DLC.
Wednesday.
Doorknob DLC.
Oh God, Jesus!
You need to
I
pay
think
DLC to get that Final Fantasy 7 door to get actually high res.
Oh God. On Wednesday, you guys, I think we're going to need to have just a bespoke period of time where we just let Steve hype about Lost Judgment.
Yeah,
Because
I think we definitely need to do that.
Yeah, because he missed
man
last
needs it.
episode and this episode right when it's like the flashpoint of news, right? And we got to let the guy hype about it. He loves.
By the
Judgment
way,
so
we completely missed this last time. I am since I think we're going to be switching topics here. Skull Kid Tiger.
yes, I was actually going to mention that. Yeah. Yes, Skull Kid Tiger, back when we were talking about Waluigi, did donate $5 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Skull Kid Tiger, saying, a wild Skull Kid Tiger has appeared. JoJo's Biz, wah! Adventure vibes. So, thank you
It
so
is
much, Skull
totally
Kid
a
Tiger.
JoJo pose. Now
Yeah.
It is that, yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely. Oh God.
I mean, JoJo characters have struck enough poses that everything's a JoJo reference at this point.
Yeah, right.
Yes, exactly. Instead of Aura, it's how you go? How do you do? However, Waluigi does it just with the wahs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's a little bit too cartoony for him. Also, going back to when we were talking about how expensive games are in the US, used games, Adoodle said in our patron chat, wow, and Mega Man 5 isn't even that good. Excuse you, but Mega Man 5 is my favorite game in the classic series. All right, thank you very much. So,
That's funny.
no, of course, we're all entitled to our opinions, but I wanted to point that out. But yeah, so, okay, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next news story, which I think is going to upset quite a few people. Let's get that up on screen. PS5 shortages are expected to continue into 2022. So if you thought that it was going to get it has gotten a little easier to get a PS5, but if you thought that it was going to become easy to get one anytime before next year, you're sadly wrong. Because Sony themselves are saying because of what continues to be massive demand, even if they increase their production rate, there's still going to be shortages in the market. So this sucks. I don't want to hand wave this away and be like, come on, Sony, do better, because I get, large scale production and manufacturing isn't easy. Like, there's a lot of coordination, and I get that, but
We're dealing with a chip
people want to
shortage
buy your
too.
thing, so make thing available. I mean, geez.
Scalpers
there
are
are-
really sweeping over on just all fronts.
Yeah,
God,
as scalpers do.
And yeah, I think it was you mentioned Brandon, the chip shortage.
Yeah,
It's like a silicate shortage, isn't it?
as
like-
I understand it.
Is that
It's
what
like
it
the
is?
material. I think it's like the materials that they use to make chips is limited, and then when you've got with everything happening on the PC side of things, it can't be helping the console side of things.
Isn't what is I might Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't this whole Bitcoin mining also screwing things over because people are just buying up all those
Oh, is it?
cards?
They're buying
GPUs,
buying all the GPUs and stuff, and they're buying CPUs now because you could do it with APUs, you can do it with your high end CPUs would probably help. They're trying to figure out any way that they can. So building a PC right now is insane. And then if you're talking about these companies that are trying to get parts for consoles, even that's kind of difficult. Nintendo, everybody talks about the Switch Pro and whether or not that's a thing or not. I feel like if things were normal, they probably would have announced it already. They probably are holding it back because they just don't know when they're going to be able to make a reasonable amount of them.
Right. And I think even recently we did hear that there's a possibility it could be 2022 because of that. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. Also, you in our patron chat mentions that the shortage was semiconductors.
Semiconductors. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is still integral to making circuit boards. So that kind of puts any electric device like on hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it certainly isn't, it's not fair to solely point the finger at Sony here. I mean, they are certainly, I think.
Honestly, the more I hear about it, the more it just seems like this whole cryptocurrency NFT crap needs to be just locked down.
I mean, that's episode 86.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're saying that, Derek. And I'm glad to hear that people in general, like, screw this NFT thing, because that's kind of how I felt about it. But I'm like, am I just being old? Am I having my old man yelling at the sky moment? No, it seems like a lot of people are kind of like, this is dumb.
It's destroying the environment.
It is destroying the environment. It is actively undoing a lot of things for fake money that never
that never existed.
Yeah.
At least most government currency used to be backed by gold or something like that, and you're literally just making it up.
Well, the thing is that the value, from what I understand, for cryptocurrency shifts wildly. It might be worth 5 cents this day and then $500 in the next 10 minutes, and then back down to a cent.
There you in the chat asks, what is cryptocurrency? And I think if you're asking that question, you're already on the right track.
Yeah.
I don't understand it myself, honestly. But just what I've gathered, it's
promissory money. It's no different than I'm making this token that I'm saying if you cash it in, it's worth $1. So then you buy it, and now you don't have $1, but you have the promise of $1. But then at some point, someone says, "Oh, well, I'll give you $2," and then the numbers just fluctuate, and they're all made up. It's all. What does he say in whose line is it anyway? It's all made up.
It's all made up, and the points don't matter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
There you go. Cryptocurrency in a nutshell.
Well, my question then is, like cryptocurrency, like Dogecoins, right? Like, what's the exchange rate between Dogecoins and Bison dollars? Because Bison dollars are the only alternate currency I'm willing to accept personally.
Listen,
it might as well be the same thing. I'll be honest.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still holding on to 6,000 Jeffrey bucks. So whenever Toys R Us wants to come back,
right?
I'm sitting on them. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I just, again, at the risk of sounding old, can't we just go back to having regular old currency? Just
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
currency, just money. Like what?
I miss my fake
Yeah.
plastic money. Now I have to use this fake money.
Yeah.
I correct. I am definitely going to be wrong in this idea. I see Goddamn Noodle asking, "What is an NFT?" From what I understand, it's saying I have ownership of this image, and I am selling the ownership of this image, even though I'm just making that up. I don't actually own this image, but I'm saying I own this image, and now I'm saying that you own this image. So congratulations, you own this image, though you really don't.
It's the same thing as like having a art piece in the museum with a plaque underneath it, owned by so and so, donated to the museum. But like this is an image that can be duplicated indefinitely on the internet. So like, what does it matter?
It used to be backed by dollars, where if I bought this Dogecoin, I could cash it in at some point and get money. But now it changes hands so fast, you don't ever see it become money. It just goes back. I mean, somebody posted a line graph of Dogecoin value over the last week, and it looked like a heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't understand. Juan in our patron chat certainly gets what I was going for, replying, "Bison dollars? Is this a joke? This money isn't worth the paper it's printed on." I adore that movie so much. And I actually, I didn't realize it, but I found an article from the Daily Dot back from 2018 that apparently people were already, like people who weren't into Bitcoin were already comparing Bitcoin to Bison dollars. Like this has already been a comparison that's been made. And so I guess if that's true, then every Bitcoin will be worth 5 British pounds once Bison has kidnapped the queen. So I don't know. I love that movie. I'm now reminding myself that it's time for me to watch the OG Street Fighter movie again because it's been long enough.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So cryptocurrency, NFT, Bitcoin. That's great.
I mean, all that stuff is kind of just screwing with the supply chains for a lot of these important parts. That's why, as Greg said, good luck building a computer. Good luck getting the parts you need for PS5, switches, all that. It's just a mess.
Yeah. And I mean, it's incredible though that Sony has managed to continue to sell so many. I mean, they're obviously continuing to sell out whatever they can get in. Yeah, they're doing an incredible job.
The PS5 is the best-selling system I've never seen.
Right. Yeah. The Gematsu article this story was sourced from says PS5 shipped 7.8 million units between its launch in November and March 31st, and is expected to ship at least another 14.8 million units by March 31st of next year. And I feel bad. One of my best friends has been having trouble getting one. And I've been saying, you'll just, follow Wario64 on Twitter, put on notifications. You'll get one, man. You'll be able to get one. Maybe I was leading him astray. I kind of thought it was going to get a little easier, but apparently not. And he so desperately wants one before FF7 Remake Intergrade comes out. But
I got lucky. I got real lucky.
Same. My wife was able to get me one for the holidays, and hats off to her, man. I would not have
ready to give up. It actually happened. So
I feel like a god getting the 2 that I did. Like, how did I ever get more than one?
You got 2 of them? Oh, you're part of the problem.
Well, I gave the other one to a friend who was looking for one. I ordered 2, one as a backup in case a canceled order happened, and then I paid it forward.
Nice.
And somebody said in the chat, PS5 might be a cryptocurrency.
No.
I'm not going to sell you a PS5. I'm going to sell you a receipt that says you own a PS5.
Perfect.
Well, I did bring up that story about my best friend in FF7 for a reason, because our next
before we get to that, Ash, we did have another.
Do we have another super chat? I didn't notice.
From Brandon Hoge with $4.99. Do we think we'll see a new Silent Hill announcement during E3? Probably not, because it's owned by Konami, and they said they're not showing up.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think maybe we can expect, if there is going to be a Silent Hill announcement, which of course we've all been hearing the rumblings that there's apparently something in the works. I think maybe we should probably expect that during summer, sometime after E3, because exactly what Derek just said. Konami has already said they're not going to be at E3. So E3, no, but post E3, possibly. And I
good Halloween game.
So
Pachinko, maybe?
It sure would. I just hope it's like
Chinko at
form for
home.
the
Now
suit.
we're talking.
Pachinko machine at home. I like it.
Right? Oh, God. Because, we have seen that, just because something bears the Silent Hill name doesn't necessarily mean it's hype. Like Downpour, Book of Memories, let's hope it's like the OG Silent Hills, like 1 through 3, and like a true return to form, whatever they're working on, apparently, than one of the newer or
Silent Hill 1 or 2 in the style of Resident Evil 2 or 3 remake.
That would
Oh
be
my
interesting.
God. Yeah,
That would
full-blown
be interesting
remakes.
for sure. Yeah.
Games. I don't know if I need them. Games scared the hell out of me.
Right. But thank you, Brandon, for your super chat donation. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. With that said, let's get our next news story up on screen, which, as I said, does have to do with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. And that is that the new Yuffie episode called Intermission is going to be a download code only, even in physical PS5 copies of the game, which I imagine is to cut down on the resale value of the game, right? I mean, that's probably what this comes down to. But this is, from what I've seen around the internet, pissing off quite a few people.
I mean, it's one of those things, you'll never have a complete version.
I'm a little surprised that people are surprised, I guess, because I just kind of anticipated this to happen. Because, I never expected this to be on the disc, just given the way that they're releasing it. But it would be nice if it was on the disc. I'm not saying it wouldn't. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not like you, Brandon. This doesn't really surprise me. I kind of always expected this, so I'm surprised at the surprise, I guess. I get to a degree why people are upset. I guess it's a little bit hard for me to relate because I just kind of want to play it. I don't really mind if that specific part of the game isn't on the disc, and I'm not getting it anyway because I have it on PS4 and I'm just going to upgrade it and buy the DLC separately.
And that's
so I guess I just me too. Yeah.
That's the weird situation with this whole thing is that it's rather than buy it brand new on PS5, just get it on PS4 for even cheaper and then just the DLC.
This exactly what I was saying earlier. If you want it to be on the disc, but if you already have the game, you're going to have to go and spend $70 on the game that you have because it has one extra chapter. Just, you get the DLC. It's fine.
Yeah. This is one of those weird things where I can see myself in any other situation being usually kind of upset about DLC or stuff not being on the disc or some sort of extra thing. But because of the upgrade, it's like, all right, whatever. I was going to get just DLC anyway.
And as more time passes, the PS4 version of FF7 Remake is just going to continue to drop in price or to go on sale more often. Yeah. And I mean, I really, unless you genuinely can't find one wherever you live, I don't know why you would just buy a full price copy of Remake Intergrade on PS5 when you could just as easily, as we've been saying, get a used copy on PS4, upgrade it, and buy the Yuffie DLC separately. Yeah. And you'll still be coming out ahead.
Dirk B. Andy in the chat says, I think the problem is Sony and Square are trying to force people to buy digital instead. Another sign companies trying to go to an all digital future, which there's an argument for that. There's,
sure.
That is definitely possible, but
I think it's even less about that and more so that they just want you to purchase the DLC.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, they are definitely trying to, cut down on the resale value of the game by basically making it so if you do buy it on PS5 used, you're getting essentially an incomplete version and have to buy the DLC separately. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I get why that bothers people, but I also get it from the point of being a company that exists to make money. Like I do get why they're doing that, even if I agree that it's not necessarily right to push consumers toward physical or digital. Either way.
Right. I mean, thankfully, we're at least in a situation like we've been saying where you could buy a used PS4 copy and get the initial game cheaper and then just spend the rest on the DLC. It's not as bad as it could be, but it still kind of sucks. So I get that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's the concern with this stuff is always the same, though. I think the biggest issue is always, 10, 15 years down the line, especially for us, we're retro gamers. So this is the sort of thing we run into. Are they always going to keep a server up for you to download this stuff? Are they ever going to come out with a complete version of the game? Which I would assume that eventually, when they're done making DLC for it, there'll be a complete version, or I at least hope there would be.
This is Square. They have Kingdom Hearts the story so far, which packages how many games together.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7.5 remake final mix, all DLC.
Fantasy 7 remake complete. Or
The
just all
issue
you need to
of preservation is becoming more prevalent, and I think companies
Yeah.
are becoming aware of
Yeah.
that. So I'm optimistic that you will be able to get this in the future, 10 to 15 years down the line.
Yeah, I think
Right.
so.
And I was going to mention that because Ninko Bra in our live audience chat does bring up a great point. It sucks for preservation purposes, and that is
Yeah.
becoming more of an issue, as we saw with Sony almost going ahead with shutting down the PS3 and PS Vita stores altogether. So and having no other way to access those games. So it's becoming a bigger issue, and I do definitely see why people are upset, but at the same time, I guess in the short term, I'm just looking forward to playing it. And this doesn't apply to me. I have the PS4 version that I was just going to upgrade. I don't need it
Yeah,
physically,
Right.
but I definitely get for collectors and preservationists why
Yeah.
this is a problem. Certainly.
As Tactless Ogre in the chat, our patron chat points out, Square did lose the original coding to a few games more than once, though. They did lose Final Fantasy VIII at one point, and yep,
That's true.
I mean, I
It's
have to
true.
hope
Yeah.
that they're a little better at that now. At this point, I hope.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Okay.
internet
I
won't
don't
know.
let them live it down, so like there's too much risk to not be careful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's switch gears from a game that Square is developing to one they are publishing and get that news story up on screen. Dontnod, the developers of Life is Strange 1 and 2, are saying they probably won't return to the series and want to own their own IPs. And they've actually even gotten some offers and fielded some offers and refused several of them. Who knows who is trying to acquire Dontnod? Clearly, their pedigree speaks for themselves with Life is Strange 1 and 2. I love the first game. I haven't played the second one. But I respect the hustle. I respect that they don't want to become the Life is Strange studio, which might be what they would be if they didn't try to go out and do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I respect it. I wonder if Epic's trying to buy them.
It could be Epic. Could
Wouldn't be
Microsoft.
surprised.
Could be Microsoft. Yeah.
There's probably a couple out there. Maybe Capcom wants them back. We'll get the Remember Me too, something like that.
So of course Dontnod is not working on the next Life is Strange game, which is Life is Strange True Colors. That's being made by Deck 9, who also worked on Life is Strange Before the Storm. So it does seem as though Dontnod is trying to kind of divest themselves of the identity of being the Life is Strange studio. And personally speaking, as much as I love the first game, and I did, it's fantastic. The trailer, at least for True Colors, impressed me so much that I don't know if Life is Strange, it needs Dontnod. I don't know if the two can't be separated.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I've still not played Life is Strange, so I don't know. I don't think I've played a single Dontnod project, but I respect the idea of them wanting to own their own games. There's value in that. Look what happened with Naughty Dog and Crash and Insomniac and Spyro.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, as it was pointed out, Adam Davis YT in our patron chat says they think Deck 9 did a good job with Before the Storm. Same. I don't think it was as good. I played that, or at least some of that as well. I didn't think it was as good as the first game, but I still liked it. And so I totally trust Deck 9 with True Colors. Again, that trailer blew me away more in a way that I wasn't really expecting it to. So I do think that they can get this done, Deck 9, and Dontnod clearly are talented in their own right. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, and if whether they're acquired by somebody or if they stay independent and start developing their own IPs. They are clearly talented, so I'm curious to see where they go from Life is Strange.
Yeah.
I'm more interested to see what happens with the Life is Strange franchise. I'm interested to see if when they start turning multiple aspects of it over to different people to make the games, how different would Life is Strange 3 look like? I'm interested to see what happens to the franchise. The company, I feel like they're going to be fine. I think being able to put Life is Strange on your resume is going to do wonders for them. So I'm interested to see what happens to the franchise itself. Who picks up the slack and who takes over, especially Life is Strange 3.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah, well, we know. I mean, Life is Strange True Colors essentially kind of is Life is Strange 3. It's not
Is
called
that
that, but it's
okay?
yeah, it's just the next mainline Life is Strange game. And as I said, that's being developed by Deck
Okay.
9, who made the Life is Strange 1 prequel. So it seems like it's shifted developers quite comfortably. And I got to hand it to Dontnod here, because I think a lot of studios, in a way, would be content to become inextricably linked for a very successful IP they're known for developing.
Yeah.
But they're taking what I would say is the road less traveled and the riskier path, and saying, no, we don't want to fall back on what's safe. We want to do our own thing and make our own IPs, and that's brave. That takes
Yeah.
it takes a lot of moxie to do that. So I
Yeah.
wish them the best of luck.
Gonna take a lot of hits to keep your name on people's mouths if you're jumping from series to series.
Yeah.
Right. Eddie B in our patron chat says, I bet Dontnod wants to explore a revival of Skitchin. I hope so, man. I am down. We need a Skitchin revival by Dontnod. Let's
God.
do it. I love how that's never gonna die. That's gonna be a GVG meme till the end of time. I love it. Hey, but Skitchin, man, it's worth it. It's Skitchin.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we have one more news story to cover today, so let's go ahead and move on to that and get that up on screen. And 505 Games is going to publish or be publishing a new game from MercurySteam, who, as you might recall, made Castlevania Lords of Shadow, as well as games like Metroid Samus Returns and Space Lords. We don't really know anything about it. All we know is it is, quote unquote, a brand new video game. That's it. No details. So,
Yeah. I mean,
cool, I guess.
I think it's cool because I'm a fan of Mercury Steam at this point. I think they've earned that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they I so I first discovered them with Lords of Shadow, and when during the thanks to my Castlevania retrospective, I really got a appreciation for Lords of Shadow 2 despite its developing issues. But then, of course, Metroid Samus Returns come out. It's like, yeah, I'm down for that. I did not actually hear about Space Lords at all.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with that one.
That was more of a free to play game. Apparently, it's coming to PlayStation
Okay.
5 as well. So sure, but I found it interesting enough to like mention just because like, hey, these are the guys who made Metroid, so Samus Returns, and obviously it's not going to be that. But I'm curious what it might be.
I am a little surprised that it isn't Metroid. I was expecting after Samus Returns for Nintendo maybe to strike a deal for them to keep developing first-party games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
wouldn't
surprised
mind.
it wasn't either.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I liked Samus Returns. I was actually pleasantly surprised by that one.
Same. And I know, Derek, you really liked it too, right?
Oh yeah, it was really good. The only problem I had was the new what's it called? The bigger bomb jump that I had no idea how to do.
Right. Yeah, I kind of hoped that they would tap MercurySteam for another Metroid game. I will say I wasn't the biggest fan of Lords of Shadow. Mirror of Fate, I know, is the one they made, and that one didn't quite do it for me. But
Mirror
Samus Returns absolutely did.
Mirror of Fate is definitely the weakest. It tried its best to have trying to be a little of both, but and Lords of Shadow again has its issues, but it's one of those things that's so overwrought in its storytelling. It's like, I kind of love it for this. They got friggin' Patrick Stewart to narrate though. And I think Lords of Shadow 2 might have one of my favorite death fights in this entire series canon. So I don't know. I went into Lords of Shadow 2 having tried it when it first came out because I did enjoy the first back in the day. And then it didn't, and it's just like, this stealth section kind of sucks. It's not really clicking with me. I'll stop. And then I came back with the whole marathon, and it just became one of my top 10 favorite Castlevanias, excuse me. So it's like, they did something that just clicked with me.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, clearly, and I know the Lords of Shadow series definitely has its own bespoke fans in general. I certainly wouldn't want to write it off. And again, Samus Returns, great game. So, whatever they're doing with 505 Games, looking forward to hearing more about it. It's just hard to say too much more because we have nothing else to go on.
Yeah. So it's always interesting when this kind of information comes out with very little else to go on.
Right.
We're
Right.
doing something. What are you doing?
Yeah.
We can't tell you.
We're
Can't-
doing
can't tell you.
anything.
Can't tell you.
Might not even be sure yet. I wonder if it got to the point where this story is out. I do wonder how far they are into whatever it is that they're developing. If this is something that we're gonna hear
Maybe
about soon, or
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, maybe they're redoing Hunters.
Oh God.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you
Everybody
imagine?
hates that game. I like that game.
I mean,
It was
I
fine.
think
I like
Hunter
Metroid Prime
that
Hunters.
remake could do well. I
Had
think
cool characters. I don't know. I liked it.
they gotta like Alex keeps appearing in all these post-credit scenes for Prime games.
Right. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. Looking forward to hearing more. But that does bring us to the conclusion of our news coverage for the day. But as usual, before we head out, Uncle Silver, please let our incredible audience know where they can find you on the internet, man.
You can find me on Twitch at Uncle Silver. Actually, I just changed it. So it's twitch.tv/Uncle Silver. So that should bring me up there. And then on Twitter at SilverGreg78. I always post a lot of fun stuff there, and especially my schedules because I'm, constantly late. And then so if you go to the Twitch page, you'll see my schedule there. I stream about 5 days a week. I've also got a YouTube channel, but don't worry about that. I don't use it nearly as much as I'm supposed to.
Gotcha,
well.
gotcha. Also, Brandon, thank you again, man. It can't be understated, or sorry, overstated. Just how much you have done for GVG. You're running these streams in Steve's stead when he's not here. You and Steve are clearly much more equipped to run these streams than Derek and I are, and we're so thankful to you all the time for everything you do for us. So thank you for being here again, man. And please go ahead and let our audience, those of us in our audience who don't already know, where they can find you and Break Room Arcade.
Well, you can find me at Break Room Arcade on YouTube. You can also find me on Twitter at MerrowLeaf_. Twitch.tv/MerrowLeaf. I've been trying to start streaming more lately. I'll be doing more of that come June. So if you like Monster Hunter and Nintendo games, go ahead and check me out. And you will occasionally find me right here on Good Vibes Gaming.
Yes. And even when he's not on camera, you never know when you're going to hear him chime in as the voice of God. So he's always around.
You really do never know.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, with all that said, we have reached the end of the show. But as always, we have to give a massive thank you to our patrons at the producer level and above for helping to make today's news tonight happen. Because without you, it wouldn't be happening. So thank you from the bottom of our heart for all your support. In addition, a massive, gargantuan, extra special thank you to all of our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And today, I'm gonna have a little surprise for you. A couple weeks ago, I read out all the EPs as my best Xander Mobus Smash announcer impression. That was very popular. We've gotten some new EPs since then. We're now a public live show, so I'm gonna do it again and give all of our new EPs the Xander Mobus treatment as well. So here we go. Wish me luck. See if my voice can hold out, and let's do it. All right. Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Etiono Ben, Dan Entwistle, Dennis J, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, It's ATM, Octopuppet, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Aiko Carroll, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Kitty Kong Fax, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, 112, Makalau, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Alessia, Azran127, Kinrule09, Jake Pelka, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Charlie Bird, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Aram M, Sakuragi, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzywig Hoyd, Critmonger, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Master Links, Deaneth, Kota, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Ruby, Wolf X Blake, Moon Macarons, Ascaron 809, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 minutes and 60 seconds, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Ravelox, Synchro Lord, Brainchild, Rosa Pardo Bowling,
Hey,
Hi
Steve's mom.
Steve's mom, Kotar Peck, Scuff 196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Blizzica, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Wheezy Penguin, Darik, Stephen Nelson, Ray Clausen Jr., Nathan the voice actor. Woo, that's everybody. Thank you all so much for your incredibly generous support.
Woo.
And if you want to know how you can get in on the EP readout action or support us in myriad other ways, head on over to patreon.com/gvgaming, where we have recently refreshed our whole Patreon. We've added new tiers. We've added new perks at most of the existing tiers. So if you'd like to support us in various ways, you can head over there to see how you can do that. But even if you don't and you can't support us on Patreon, we would super appreciate it if you just dropped a like and subscribe right here on YouTube. We love you and appreciate you all the same. With that said, we will see you on Wednesday for the next episode of Today's News Tonight. And until then, everybody, good night and good vibes. Bye.
Bye.